guys, this is Tina. Welcome back to my channel. So I'm here today to do another episode of my Fabulous Flowers series that we've been doing together. So this time I thought what we'd do is have a play with incorporating flowers into kind of kids book journals and kind of more you know, colourful images and things. So far we've kind of looked at, you know, various different things, and I thought what we'd do, yeah, is kind of more playing with colour, you know, and mixing kind of more colourful, vibrant kind of images with flowers. So I'm going to use this gorgeous book that I picked up recently. It's called The Fairies Party, and it just had the most gorgeous images in here. So I have already torn out a whole bunch of images to use, and they are all here. Oops. All here ready to kind of go. But I mean, hopefully you can kind of see, and hopefully the camera's picking up just how cute these images are. I mean, they're just absolutely gorgeous, aren't they? And, you know, just in the most beautiful bright colours and just really, really cute. So yeah, if you ever kind of see one of these books around, or, you know, maybe kind of search on Amazon or eBay, it just is such pretty gorgeous images. And it also had these gorgeous images which were on the front and the back covers. So we've got obviously those, but the kind of fly pages, I think they're called, was also kind of these small images too. And there was one at the front and one at the back, so kind of another one here. So you've got all the pictures kind of in small kind of version. So, you know, really useful for journaling. Unfortunately, you have got these gorgeous pictures on the other side too. So, you know, personally, I will struggle to kind of decide which side to use. But, you know, nevertheless, I think there's just some absolutely gorgeous and really cute images all over here. And on top of that, I've also cut out some of the words from the book, because I rather like sometimes using words, you know, in the journals. And I love the way these are such big font, because obviously it is a kid's book. So they're really nice and, you know, big font. So they'd stand out really nicely in the journal. So I'm just going to kind of pop this to one side. And what I've done is kind of laid out a couple of things that I thought we could get started playing with straight away. Because again, I'm kind of keen to, you know, not hold everybody up endlessly. So when I'm working with kind of kids books, you know, I'm making kind of kids book journals, which I've got a couple of journals on my YouTube. I think I've got a nursery rhymes one and Little Red Riding Hood, which was more recent. I quite like mixing them with really vibrant, bright scrapbook papers. So, you know, I've just got some paper here just that was in my kind of stash. So I thought, you know, we could mix some bits with that. So if I just move the rest out of the way for a moment. So all I've done is literally cut a piece from a 12 by 12 piece of paper. I have coffee dyed this. Now, unfortunately, this is very screwed up, and I don't think it will kind of now go flat. I have ironed it, but it's not seeming to kind of have the, you know, desired effect, unfortunately. But, you know, let's not let that kind of deter us from using it. So all I've done is kind of cut along the length of one of the sides, and then kind of made a kind of fold down flap like that. So what we'll start by doing is just punch the corners like that of the flap, so it's a bit more, you know, a bit more finished off, if you like. And then we'll just cut the corners of the actual piece itself. Again, just so it's kind of got a bit more of a finished off appearance, I suppose. So we just literally cut that like that. I might try and do this a bit less of a tutorial and a bit more of a kind of, you know, craft with me, because in this series I noticed that it's just gradually turned into just a tutorial, really, kind of every single episode, and that wasn't really my intention. It was more, you know, process, but never mind. Right, I thought this girl looks absolutely lovely on this paper because she's obviously got the red shoes and she's got some white and things, and obviously her background is white. So I just thought she looked really striking sat on that paper. Now, what I've got here as well, I have got another one of those lovely designer bags that my son had bought a pair of Levi's kind of in the January sales. So all I'm going to do is literally cut the bag down. So just bear with me while I just make it a more manageable size to get it on camera. So, you know, obviously this is out of frame, but I can assure you you're not missing anything. I'm just now flinging it about and dropping it everywhere, so you seriously are not missing anything at all. Right, so now I've got a kind of more manageable piece, and then what we'll do, we'll just cut it down here, because I thought what we could pop in here is just cover up where it's quite screwed up. So we want to kind of cut a couple of kind of squares. Again, you know, we're not really looking for perfection here, so just going to cut them roughly down like that, just so they're kind of similar sizes, like that, and then we'll just make them kind of similar size there. So I'm just going to cut the ends just so they're slightly neater. So I've got that one, and then round about here for this one. Because I thought they might be quite nice to use as kind of journaling spots in there. So, and obviously now you can just neaten them up now they're kind of smaller. So we'll just cut them down to just kind of pretty them up a little bit. And then we could round the corners. Like that. Oh, come on, come on, come on. I have seen that they do a bigger corner punch than this. This is a very small one. So I might have to treat myself to a larger corner punch, because I think that would be kind of handy. Right, I'm going to do that one up there. So I just glue that down. Just do that like that. Okay, that's that one. And then I'm just going to trim this one down slightly so that it's slightly smaller, because obviously the flap is smaller than the bit that's effectively going to be on the bottom. So I'm just going to cut that down, neaten it up a little bit. Like that. Need to make that slightly smaller still. Okay. Right, oops, I nearly forgot to round the corners all together then. So the lights are beginning to draw out a little bit here, so you know, that will be brilliant, because obviously I've got the lights on at the moment. This is kind of getting darkish or darker now, so this will be the darkest I've ever done a video at this desk, if you see what I mean. But I wanted to give it a try and see how it came out, because otherwise you're kind of quite limited as to your recording time. You know, if you can only do it during the daylight hours, then, you know, sometimes kind of you don't get everything that you want to achieve done in a day. So it would be good if it comes out okay, even when it's getting dimmer. Right, let me check that I'm filming and that I'm in frame. Oops, I've got a little paper bag here beside me for my rubbish today. So I just quickly grabbed it on my way to do the video, because my bag was completely bursting at the seams. Right, there we go. So we can just kind of fold that up like that. And then I just thought we could pop this girl on here. She looks really pretty, just as she is. So I just glue her down. Like that. And then, obviously, because this is for the Fabulous Flowers series, we're looking at incorporating flowers into, you know, different types of work and, you know, things like that, really. So for this one, I have got these little flowers that are from my Time for Tea journaling digi kit. So I just thought again that these just picked up the colours brilliantly, because obviously it's got the blue from her dress, it's got the yellow from that yellow in the pile of books. So I just thought they would look awesome just with this little piece here. So I'm going to probably just glue this on here, but I just want to check that I don't want to kind of pop anything else around kind of behind her or anything like that. I've got this cute little ticket that again is in this little kit. So I mean, we could have that in there. Actually, we could have it in there as a little pull-out piece. That might be kind of cute. So what I'll do is kind of pick it up like that, so that I can glue around it and make sure I don't glue where it needs to, you know, have something stuck in. And when I say stuck in, I mean tucked in rather than stuck in. Right, got my very gluey tissue here from some stuff I was doing earlier, so no doubt I will have glue now stuck all over me. So I mean, I think that looks kind of cute as is, like that. And then, you know, as you all know, I do have a bit of a kind of obsession. I keep knocking my rubbish bag down, which is really very annoying. I do have a bit of an obsession with tying things up. So what I've got here to the side of me is some baker's twine, which I just thought was super fun with the blue on the flowers and the dress. So just going to literally use the baker's twine as the kind of fastening there. So we just tie this up, and we're going to go this way round like that. Oops, like that. And then we'll just cut it here like that. And then what I'll do is just literally glue that on the back so as it doesn't kind of move around. So I just run some glue down like that. Oops. And just pop it down like that. I really love working with the kids' books because I've talked about this before on my channel. I'm a little bit obsessed with the whole colour coordination and, you know, kind of everything has to be matching perfectly. And for me, I just love the fact that on the children's books, they're so colourful and so bright and so vibrant and lovely that actually you don't have to kind of worry too much because they're already full of all different colours. So you can kind of get away with using all sorts of stuff. So I just wonder whether we want to have any lace or anything like that on here. So we could have kind of a bit of blue. I've also got some of that pale blue that we've used recently as well. That was quite nice, isn't it? So let me just untie this. Kind of see how that looks. So we could have a bit of lace there. And we could have a piece here. We could obviously have another one of these gorgeous flowers here. Like that. So, you know, again, the flower just kind of adds a little bit of fun to this where otherwise it maybe was a little bit plain. So I'm just going to kind of pop that on, I think. Actually, I'm not going to for the moment. I'm going to stick the lace on and oops. Oh no, my hot glue isn't on. Let me just check it's plugged in. But it's on. I don't know what's happening with that. Let me just check it's coming out. Oh no, don't tell me my hot glue gun's broken because it'd be horrible. I think I've mentioned that before as well. I'm on about my third hot glue gun. So they seem to have a shelf life of around about 1.5 years probably. So it could well be that it is beginning to need replacing. Right, I'll use the wet glue. It might have been that the plug wasn't quite pushed in properly because obviously I stopped to go and do the school run and now I've just come straight back in and cracked on. So it could have been that I just didn't plug it back in properly, or you know, press it back in properly. Hopefully that's all it was. So what I'm going to do is actually pop another flower, I think, inside somewhere. And again, because you know, these kids books are so nice and colourful, we can obviously mix it up and use some other coloured flowers in here. Ooh, I now can't find any that look quite as I want them to look. Right, well we might have to, or I might have to rethink that and not use some flowers in here. Got this cute little sign here, love is. Perhaps I'll just pop that in instead. Yeah, perhaps I'll do that. Obviously we haven't inked anything up yet, so you know, when we ink it up it will kind of bring it in together anyway a bit more. So let me grab my ink pad. Have a look and see whether if I ink the flowers up. Well, I might have it like that. So again, I'm just going to use the wet glue for the minute. That, and we'll just pop this one down. I mean, it just kind of makes a plain journaling spot look, you know, far more interesting than just kind of being completely plain and boring, I think. So we've got that. Now, what I want to do now, just bring this little card in, just kind of while I ink this up. So just ink around there. Like that. Just ink around the top now. And obviously we don't need to ink around the back because that's going to be stuck down. So I'll tie this back up. Like that. And then if I just bring a journal back in. So I'm kind of thinking, you know, if we popped it on the page like that, and then where I was going to stick the flowers here, instead I think they might look nicer kind of poking out from behind here. You know, for me, I just somehow prefer that and think that looks kind of slightly nicer. So I'm just going to ink these up and then pop them down on that page. So I will just glue them down like that. I mean, obviously, as you can see, it looks perfectly fine on its own. For me, I just think it looks better now. You know, kind of, it's, you know, not much of a difference, you might think, you know, but I just think it's just the difference between having it completely kind of plain and just a little bit more kind of interesting, really. So, you know, I just think that looks slightly more kind of pleasing to the eye, really. So then what we can do is literally pop this down like a tuck spot. So let me see whether my hot glue is working and whether it was just that I hadn't plugged it in properly. Oh, thank goodness for that. Yes, it is working. I just hadn't plugged it in properly. So pleased. So I'm just going to literally run the glue along there and then just glue this down like that. Okay. So let me check I'm filming and then I'm in frame. So, you know, for me, that just looks such a cute page now. It's got this little cute fold out and obviously just, you know, gorgeous image from the book. I love the fact it obviously has something to tie up, you know, making it kind of really fun. And just the flowers there just add a little splash of colour and a kind of little bit of kind of decorative interest that, you know, otherwise wouldn't be there. So that's kind of, you know, the first little option of flowers. So here I've got another image from the book, which what I've done is before coming obviously on filming, I just glued this down onto some paper, just so as I thickened it up, because obviously the paper from the book is pretty flimsy. So all I've done is glued this down onto some paper just to literally give it a bit more rigidity. So I'm just going to literally cut along to kind of neaten it up. Like that. And then all I wanted to do was tear around here. So as I kind of had done in the first instance. So we're just going to tear around, because then this piece is just simply going to be a brilliant corner tuck on its own, you know, in its own right. So let me move the pieces I've cut off. Oh, come on, come on, come on. Now, I don't know whether I actually want it on this page because, you know, although I have just said about all the fun of not having to worry about things coordinating, that might be a step too far for me, I'm not sure. So what I'll do is just take the bits that I kind of have married up, and I'm just going to move to a different kind of point in the book. So So just here, for instance. So there, that would just be, you know, a tuck spot on his own. And then obviously we've got this gorgeous flower here, which again, this is from the Fabulous Flowers kit. And it just literally kind of everywhere you put it looks really cute and kind of brings something else to the page. Now what I've also got is another scrap of this paper. And on this side, as you can see, it's kind of yellow with some blue dots. So it has been coffee dyed quite heavily, but it just kind of picks up the colours from this image from the book just really nicely, I think. So, you know, we could have it kind of like this somehow. Or I have got some other flowers that are kind of bigger, which I rather like that, to be honest. So what I'm going to do is just very lightly ink this little image up. So I'll just ink it a little bit. I don't want to go too mad because I kind of quite like the crispness, the crisp kind of images from the book. But having said that, I don't want them to look too stark on the pages. So just a little bit of inking, you know, is kind of ideal really. So we'll just ink that, and then I'm just going to ink these flowers. I mean, I haven't quite decided if this is the size that I'm going to use, but I'll just ink them up ready. So we'll just move that out of the way. And then all I'm going to do is glue this one down here in the corner. Now, if we're going to run this down the side, which I think we will, then I can actually move this over slightly. So there's a bigger gap here, if that makes sense. So literally I'm going to hot glue this down like that, and I'm going to take him in a bit and just kind of run him along the bottom and just down the side there. So obviously, I mean, this is a kind of, I can't think what it would be called, an elfin? Is that the name? Kind of for the boy fairy, you know. It's not a goblin, is it? I can't think what the word is anyway. So, I mean, ordinarily, you maybe wouldn't even put a flower, you know, kind of on this page. But I just think that those yellow flowers just are brilliant with him and go so well with him. And I mean, obviously he's making a little daisy chain, unless it is a girl. Maybe it is a girl, but she's got a kind of boy type face. I don't know. So just going to glue this down here on the edge of the page. Hey sweetie, could you please turn that down? Thank you, darling. That's my daughter. She's come up to obviously be with me, having had a snack, and she's got her tablet to keep her entertained while I quickly do my video. But she does rather like to have it blaring out loud. Do you want to say hi, sweetheart? Do you want to say hi? Hi. I thought she was going to pretend she was shy then for a minute, which definitely not. Definitely she's not shy. She's just whispered she's just a little bit shy. She's not shy. She just pretends to be sometimes. Don't you, sweetie? Right. So we've got that there. Like that. So I'm just going to kind of play around with how we want this flower here. So if I just kind of hold this down for a moment. So obviously before coming along, I've cut a load of bits and bobs out. So I've got here the word magic, which I cut out obviously from the children's book, which I thought would be rather nice on this page. And then obviously I've got these yellow flowers. So I've got these ones, which are obviously slightly smaller. So they may be better. And in fact, we could have these actually here by this. I don't know whether that is a boy or a girl, and I'm struggling now. So Just going to have to call it That Person, but I mean, obviously that's a strange description too, but should have really planned out what I was going to actually call that person before filming, and maybe kind of inspected closer whether it was male or female. I don't know. So, I mean, I personally quite like the flower up at the top. You know, for me, I think that looks really, really cute up there. So I think what I'm going to do is just pop that down like that. And what we could do is make it a kind of tuck spot where you could kind of pop a little journaling card under there. So with that in mind, what I'm going to do is just kind of pop that like that. And we will just glue it kind of around like that. And then just pop it down like that. Okay. Bring back my very gluey tissue. Gluey and inky now. Right. Just press that flower down like that. So, I mean, again, you know, it just makes what would have been quite a boring page just look really, really cute. So I'm just balancing that down for a moment. In fact, I'll use my circle punch just to kind of weight that down for a moment. And then I'm just going to ink up the little word magic. Very lightly. Now, I don't know whether I've got any lace that is quite ideal for this. So let me just have a look kind of in my little lace pouch that's kind of beside me, or my lace bag that's beside me. I just see if I've got kind of anything that would be ideally suited. Not that one. Definitely not that one. Sorry about this. Again, I should have probably done this before coming along. So I have got this little bit here. Let me just cut a little piece of this one off. And just kind of have a look. And then what I might do, because we're obviously doing our, you know, Fabulous Flowers series, you know, and it's all about the flowers. So we might not leave it just at that, because maybe that's just not enough flowers on this page, to be honest. You know, maybe it needs a few more. So, you know, kind of mix and match the styles here a little bit. So I don't know whether there's a right and wrong way of that lace, but there probably is. So I'm just going to ink this little tiny piece of lace slightly, just so it kind of blends in slightly better. And we just cut that down. Actually, I think I might have to go for kind of more here without that dangly bit. Which is a shame, because obviously I picked it up first liking the dangly bit, but I actually think it would be better, oops, better without that. So I'm just going to cut around that like that. Oops. And then just trim it down slightly. If we were to have that like that. And then I've got all these little flowers here that we could kind of use. Now, I've just spotted in this jar. So these are all my little paper flowers that, you know, some I've kind of dyed, some I haven't, some are just where I've taken some apart. So I'm just having a little look through there. But I did spot this, which, again, is not the most accessible colour, I guess, for a lot of projects, but for this children's book I think it might be just what we're after. So I'm just going to distress ink around there. And just kind of mix that in a little bit. Just to tone it down slightly. And then we could kind of pop that there. So, like that. Which just looks really cute, doesn't it? So, I'm going to pop this word on the lace, just with some wet glue. Like that. And I just have kind of the flower here beside. So if I just pop that on here like that. And then we'll just have this gorgeous flower kind of just there, I think. Maybe there. Maybe there. Now, I'm just wondering whether we want to have any lace kind of off the edge of the page. So, again, I'm just rummaging in my little bag beside me. And obviously, I've got that lovely crocheted lace that just, you know, personally, I think just looks great on every single thing. So, literally, what we could do is kind of just take a little piece of that. And then just kind of pop it on somewhere on that page. So again, I'm just going to kind of slightly ink that up. So I'll just pull that little postcard in, kind of ink this up like that. Yeah, dropping stuff now, left, right and centre. So could have it kind of looking like that. I mean, to be honest, for me, that flower just looks super cute wherever kind of we put it. So, you know, it's kind of just deciding where is best. I quite like the lace down here because for me, that's quite a blank spot otherwise. So I think I'm going to just pop it down there. Like that. Whoops. Oops, she's now dropped something over there. There we go. So that's what that big crash was. Right. Just going to glue this flower down. So, and again, obviously on this one, you know, super cute flower and super colourful you know, journal and images, so we could have a really nice button or something in the centre of that. Just having a look through my little tin that's kind of beside me, just to see whether I've got anything kind of there that's just going to be ideal. Now my tin is kind of expanding because where I'm now doing this at my desk all the time, it's never getting kind of emptied or closed. Excuse me. So it's now, you know, the lid won't even go on it. It's so full up. Can't see a button in there that's just kind of right. Well, I might have to pop the button in at a later time because I don't want to kind of sit here taking up everybody's time just searching through my little tin here for a suitable coloured button. But what I did notice is I've got this green Diamante trim, so we might try that somewhere on this page too. And also I think this may be a journal where we can use some of these gorgeous little vibrant kind of rosebuds. Again, because sometimes I find that they're a little bit too bright with the lime green leaves, but in this journal obviously they're going to look great. So the button looked quite yellow in there. Now taking it out, it looks very white. Oh, that's a shame, isn't it? Because I wanted to do something a little bit, you know, fun and things that we don't normally be able to get away with the vintage kind of look. I thought, oh, we'll use a really bright, colourful button, but no, Oh well, I think that probably is nice like that anyway, so we're just going to go with that. So I'm going to pop that button on. Obviously I have got my big tub of buttons, but it's not beside me right now, so I didn't want to have to go and get it. Let me just check that I am still filming and in frame, because that would be horrible if I was filming all this and not in frame at all. And then we can obviously just pop a little bit of the Diamante trim down here. So I'm just going to hot glue that on just for speed. There we go. Oh, so looking forward to dinner, because we're having a lovely homemade tomato soup tonight. I love soups and make them all the time because they're just a really quick and easy thing, but it's freezing here. So this morning it was -3 when I got up, and I thought, oh, let's have a lovely soup for our dinner. So that's what we're having. I can't wait, because I made it first thing this morning. So it's been sat on the kind of cooker all day, you know, not cooking obviously, but it's been waiting for dinner time, so I literally can't wait to eat it. My daughter is now licking her lips. She obviously can't wait to eat it either, can you? No, we're all looking forward to it. And I bought a lovely loaf of bread for the children to have, so they can have cheese sandwiches with it. So, right. Now I'm looking at the time, we're up to 41 minutes. So I'm not sure where, you know, how much more we're going to get done, because I'm trying to kind of keep these to around 45 minutes, although that seems to have gone out the window completely with the last couple of videos. But so another image from the book is this gorgeous little red train here. So it's got this cute doll and this teddy bear. And again, I mean, I'm just kind of looking around, kind of seeing what's here on my desk right this second that we can kind of bring in and use with it. I mean, again, it just kind of looks really good with the yellow flowers, because, you know, they're just vibrant and nice really for kind of these kids' images. So I'm kind of thinking something like that, possibly kind of with it poking from there. So I might just ink this one up. And then we'll just glue that one down. Like that. And this is obviously just one of those book page pockets, the Patricia pockets. So I've just got a few kind of ready made that, you know, are kind of just handy to be able to grab and kind of decorate. So that's kind of that one. Now I'm just going to ink this up slightly. Like that. And then what we could do is pop that on some sort of lace background. Again, I'm just conscious of kind of not keeping everybody for hours while I'm looking through my stash for stuff. So I'm just going to take it down to the side and cut the piece of lace kind of to size roughly. So what we could do is kind of have it on there. So what I might do is cut the top bit, because I don't like the way it's kind of like a straight seam like that. And then, whoops, what we'll do is we will just ink this up. Again, I'm trying to check whether there's a right and a wrong side. It's very hard to see, but I'm not really sure, to be honest, whether there is or there isn't. So I'll just go for this. So, and again, I'm just going to ink that up slightly. Don't want it too dark, but I didn't want it kind of stark white either. So just kind of like that. We can just kind of pop that on there. I'll just tear this lace a little bit more so it's a bit more kind of rusticy looking rather than kind of a bit uniform. So like that. So I'm just going to stick this onto the lace with the wet glue. Like that. Okay, now do we want kind of another flower or something poking out behind there, because it just kind of adds a little bit more fun to that. So I mean, I quite like that, like that, like that, like that. Hopefully that made sense and you kind of all got the gist of what I was actually trying to say there. I'm just having a look to see whether I've ready cut anything else kind of to use. Really trying to be kind of efficient today and not kind of sap up so much time with just kind of needlessly looking for things. So I've got here kind of a little kind of label that we could have there poking out. That's kind of fun. So I might have something like that. And I mean, I guess the purpose of this is to demonstrate that, you know, we don't have to use kind of the roses and kind of girly flowers and things like that. You know, these are kind of much more, as I pick up a rose, these are much more fun, kind of kiddie type flowers, if that makes sense. You know, they're much more, yeah, just much more fun, I think. So, you know, that's what I'm, I suppose, trying to demonstrate here. Now, what I'm going to do is just try and cut this around to cut out a small section of that yellow flower. I don't know how well that really worked, but there we go. I've kind of made a hybrid there, little hybrid flower. So, you know, I mean, again, it doesn't have to be kind of perfect, just as long as it kind of resembles a flower in some way, because then that can kind of go there. So I think that's quite cute. So I'm just going to pop on this ticket here, like that. And then I'm going to pop this little flower on just there to the side. Like that. Let me get my tissue again. Just dab off any glue that might come out. Now I'm just going to very quickly ink this up a little bit. Not too much. Again, you know, I don't want it kind of as dark and grungy as sometimes do, but just a little bit. So it's got a bit more kind of character going around. Like that. And then we can obviously pop this on just down there. And I'm just going to use the hot glue to pop this one on. So we just literally glue that down like that. Press it down. Okay. So I think that looks really cute, really cute. So I don't know whether I definitely want it on this page opposite that picture, or whether I would rather have it somewhere else in the book. So perhaps we will have it here on this page. I'm trying to be a little bit kind of gung-ho so that you can kind of see the, you know, the process of kind of the matching pages, I suppose. But I might live to regret that when I've stuck you know, some of the pockets and things in where I would rather have not had them. But never mind. You only live once, don't you? And, you know, it's time to be brave sometimes. So I'm just going to get the crocheted lace again. And kind of, I think, pop a little bit there. Unless I want it down the side. Maybe down the side might look quite nice. So I'm just going to cut it kind of here. It doesn't matter if it's a bit longer than the page, because I noticed that lately I quite like it kind of overhanging slightly. So, you know, I don't know why, but I think our tastes change, don't they? And for me, lately, I've been quite fond of it kind of overhanging and being a bit longer. So I'll just ink it up a bit. Like that. I also quite like doing it at a bit of a curve lately. It seems to be something that I've got quite used to doing. Now, just before I do that, I'm just going to check in my little jar of ruffles that I wouldn't prefer to mix it up with a ruffle piece, because I've got a few that I've already kind of stitched, and funnily enough I've got some red and white spotty that's that leftover fabric from my daughter's dress, which I've used now lots of times in various journals. So just pop that out the way. Now I'm not sure whether for me this doesn't quite kind of blend in, because it's actually quite a red, you know, like a dark red, and this is quite an orangey red. So I'm not sure whether for me that's kind of not quite right, but well, it is quite nice, to be fair. It's actually kind of nicer than I expected, so maybe I will go for that after all, actually, because it's kind of nice to have the fun of the kind of vibrant ruffle. So I'm going to go for this. I'm going to glue this book page pocket down here like that. Hello, sweetie. Are you okay, darling? Love you. Gorgeous girl. You my gorgeous girl. Right, then we're just going to pop our ruffle down. Like, oh, come on. I obviously had left it with loads of threads hanging, and sometimes, just sometimes, it's a bit too much, isn't it? And you've just got too many threads hanging. So I'm just going to pop that down like that. So literally I'm just going to run my hot glue just literally down there like that. Like that. Just check that that's glued down there, because I don't want it kind of coming undone, because that obviously I've cut the ruffle there. So, you know, I think that looks really, really pretty. And obviously I've got the remainder of that yellow flower that I kind of cut the small yellow flower off. So if I just kind of neaten those little petals up. Oh, there goes my little paper bag again of rubbish. But I could have that there. Or what we could do is kind of have it here opposite, so as it ties the two pages together. And I mean, obviously here I've just got the remainder of that leaf that I kind of cut, but actually that weirdly looks okay too. So I think I'm going to glue that down, because then that, you know, for me that just kind of, whoa, that just balances the two pages out together and blends them in slightly more. So I can just wipe up the glue that I've just dropped that there. Got my daughter now hanging off of my arm and giving mummy a cuddle. Right, okay, so I think that's probably enough for today, and time that we go and have a cuddle, yeah? And then heat that lovely soup up. So, right, so obviously we've got our flowers here on this page and facing one. And we've got our gorgeous flowers here with this elfin person. And then obviously we've got the gorgeous blue flowers here with our girl. So, you know, I hope again that's given you a few ideas of kind of other places that you can, you know, use flowers and kind of incorporate them into your journals. You know, with kind of using different styles of book pages and embellishment pieces and themes, I guess, for your journals. So, yeah, so I hope that you enjoyed this episode. I hope it wasn't a little bit too kind of random, and I hope it flowed okay. So thanks very much, and I do apologise that we've now gone over time again. So thanks very much for watching, and I will catch you next time. Thanks then, bye.